Hey everybody, thank you for pressing play. In this video we're looking at this particular car here. This is what's called a Honda HRV. The specification on this car is what's called the ESi model, and the engine is a 1.5 130 horsepower VTEC unit. If you're looking for an SUV, something that's high off the ground, but you don't want a large SUV, we'll say something like a Tucson or a Sportage, these are an excellent alternative. It's high off the ground, but it's not too big. Brian's my name. In this video we're looking around this car here. This is a car that we sold originally brand new, and it's been looked after in the garage, so it's one owner car from new. We know the car really well. It's got about like 50,000 kilometers on it, which is 49,605, so it's actually quite low mileage, I think, for the year. And we've got a big scrappage deal on the car as well, so anyway, which I think is going to be useful. So what we're going to do is in the video, we're going to have a quick drive in the car, and then we're going to have a look at some of the features on the inside, the outside as well. And hopefully by the end of the video, you'll have a good idea as to whether this is the right car for you. So anyway, like we said, we're going to start off by going for a drive. So this is the startup sequence. When you start the car up, the clocks move around, and then in terms of the radio, we'll have a better look at that in a while. It's a touch screen setup. The steering wheel is rake reach, so I can go in and out and up and down, and we'll see in a while the seats also move similarly. The gearbox is high, and there's an automatic park brake, so I pressed the button in that case, but I could have automatically allowed it to take off itself. The engine I really like in these cars, it's a raspy 130 horsepower engine, a little bit more old school. It's non-turbo, but I like that. It's simple and straightforward, and it's kind of enjoyable to drive. Well, actually, it's really enjoyable to drive. I like non-turbo engines. There's no lag. They're very immediate in terms of how they respond, and the gearbox is lovely where it is. Honda always makes nice gearboxes anyway. So in terms of when you're sitting on the road in the car, there is a little button down here on the right hand side. You can press it. In this case, it's a lane change warning, so if I drift out of the lane, it's going to warn me, and then that'll allude to the fact that I've left the lane. Little warning down here as well, so I move back in, and it could be very useful someday. When you're driving the car on the road, then controls over here, these are for trip computer, average speed and fuel efficiency. We'll see that in a little while. Down here then, there are Bluetooth controls for music and also for taking calls and stuff like that. And to be fair, I think this is a really striking looking car. It's a pearl white paint. What's nice about the HRV is there's so many common SUVs on the road, Tucsons and Sportages and all that kind of stuff. These, like we're saying to you, a little bit smaller and something a little bit different as well. And look at the paint on this car, especially on a day like today, pearl white, really lovely fleck on it. It's not like a normal white, it's a pearl. And the wheels are diamond cut, which means they have a lovely shiny reflective finish when the sun shines on them, especially on a day like today. I think they're a smart looking car, and I always think it's nice to have something a little bit different. And also having a raspy petrol engine, it makes a nice change than some of the other cars which are generally diesel. One other cool thing as well is they'll have this speed limiter down through here. So if you set the speed limiter, you find you can set your speed, but you can also set it to respect the speed sign. So say we're coming into a speed zone along through here, got two speed signs up ahead, the car is going to read it. But what's really cool is, watch this, it'll actually read the speed sign, fine, tells you the speed, but it now restricts my speed, which means I cannot exceed that speed limit, which I think is dead handy. A couple of things though sitting in the car. The first thing we said was it is a one owner car from new, and this one's got a full service history, and we need to do another service on it as well. So we talked about the controls over here. These wipers are completely automated, so they come on themselves when it rains, and the lights are completely automated in terms of daytime, nighttime, but they also dip when you meet traffic. The car's got parking sensors on the front, so in here it'll actually tell you where the problem is, but in this case it'll actually also tell you, so you got two screens warning you. And similarly when you're going backwards, again, this screen and this screen over here, so you have no excuse whatsoever if you back into something. Another little neat feature along through here, this is an econ button, so what it does is it actually reduces how aggressive the cruise control and the air conditioner is, fine. And along HRV as well here, you can actually set this backlight to change colour depending on the kind of driving you're doing. So I like to normally have it green if you're efficient, red if you're not efficient, and then orange if it's kind of halfway. And the car, depending on your throttle position, will actually change colour, so it's kind of cool. Over into the centre then, you've got Honda Connect in through here, so that is going to be agree. If I crash the car, it's my fault basically. Radio down through here, so it's pretty straightforward to use. It's touch and swipe, phone information up through here, audio down through there, and you know, usual settings and stuff like that. But it's even got things like an internet browser and a calculator and a calendar. The internet browser does require a hotspot from your phone though. The heating controls then are going to be dual zone, so different temperatures for the driver and different temperatures for the passenger, with a front and rear windscreen demister. The gear stick we talked about is in a really nice place where it is, really easy to use, and it's just, you have to drive it yourself. Honda make lovely gearboxes, they really, really do. Down through here then, there is a couple of different functions, so they are going to be things like two USB connectors, a HDMI connector if you want to play a video on the screen, and a 12-volt outlet. You might have seen when I drove off, I actually pressed this down. There was really no need because this automatically actually releases itself. There's a drinks holder in here, which you can have at different levels depending on how tall your drink is. And then there is an armrest which goes backwards and forwards with a little bit of storage in through there. The boot in these cars is really good. If you actually take the back tray out, there's a really massive storage area, even if you put a child seat in the back, and there's a 12-volt outlet just over here, but the condition all the way around, it's in really nice condition. And if you drop those seats, they go flat and you end up with a massive load area, just like a light commercial vehicle. And the seats have another thing. If you come around here, pop this up, lock it in place, and quite easy to do. A little bit harder when you're trying to hold a camera, but it is really easy to do, and you end up getting this tall mode. You could do it on both sides. In terms of the doors, there's a child lock back here, there's nice leather along here where you rest your arm, electrics for windows, and little bits of chrome around the speakers and also around the door handles over through here as well, as you can see. You drop these down, and then after that, 3 head restraints, 3 3-point safety belts, an armrest, and ISOFIX points on either side. And one thing about these cars, the space in the back of these cars is absolutely stupid. It makes no sense to me at all. How a car in this kind of smaller SUV segment can be so roomy in the back. And it's actually because it's based on the Jazz, which again you wouldn't think is actually a reason for it to be big, but it's freaking massive. The back headroom is pretty good, you know, it's quite good, but you know, it's no different than a lot of SUVs. But the legroom is just stupidly big. That's how I sit behind myself at 6 foot. And then down through here, a little bit of storage with a 12-volt outlet and good visibility around the place, so it's a nice bright cabin when you're sitting in the back. For safety, you're going to have a driver's airbag over here, a passenger one here. There is going to be side airbags down along through here. All these doors are going to have side impact protection beams, and even things like the head restraint, see down here, they're anti-whiplash, so you can push them forward so that your head doesn't go as far back if you're rear-ended. But you can also pull it back out of the way if you feel uncomfortable. Like what we said, this seat that I'm in is completely adjustable backwards and forwards, and it's also height adjustable as well. So to summarise, if you are looking for, sorry I keep doing that because I haven't had a haircut in ages. If you're looking for a car that's easy to run in terms of fuel, in terms of road tax, but you don't want a diesel car because maybe you don't do enough mileage, and you want an engine that's enjoyable to drive, and you want a car that's well equipped, and you want a car with some versatility in terms of how it works in terms of the back, you want a car that's got one owner and a full service history, you want a car that's got an NCT on it, you want a car that's got a 12-month warranty, a car that's prepared properly, a car that's in nice condition, this is definitely something to consider. And I suppose to summarise, for a lot of people, they want a car that's high off the ground, and they also want something that's not got a big wide footprint. So they don't want a bigger thing like, you know, something like a Santa Fe or a Tucson or CRV or whatever it is, but they still want that elevated driving position. These are definitely worth considering. Really, really reliable, straightforward engineering. Anyway, we have a good scrappage deal, as you can see, and then we have monthly payments as well. Just if you want to know about how the scrappage works, just give me a shout, call, text, WhatsApp 086 843 1945. Brian's my name, Fitzpatrick's garage where I work, and it's a family run business in operation for almost 70 years. So hopefully the car's of interest, and thanks for taking time to watch.